Testing. Testing, testing. Testing, 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 testing. Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Library of Alexandria. And today, boosh! I'm going to be reviewing The Malevolent Seven by Sebastien DeCastell. And boy, are you in for a treat. So, I have been waiting ages, forever, for a new DeCastell book to come out. If you have not been following me for very long, The Greatcoats is one of my favorite series of all time. I've only read the first one in his Spellslinger series, which is his YA series, or for younger than Greatcoats for sure. Though I am determined to finish that series this year, as DeCastell is one of my favorite authors, so I should probably read all that he's written. But I've read all the Greatcoats. I've read all the Greatcoats short stories. I've been anxiously awaiting either Play of Shadows or Our Lady of Blades, which is the next book in the new Greatcoats series. And while this is happening, imagine my surprise that, boom, a brand new book in a brand new IP that is related to neither Spellslinger nor Greatcoats comes along, and that is The Malevolent Seven. And I think it is the first of a series. It ends to where surely there's going to be a sequel. So I don't know what the series is, though. Good reason to have the series. I should probably ask. So at any rate, without wasting any more time, let's get down to business. Let's talk about The Malevolent Seven and my thoughts. So first of all, just full disclosure, I am a huge fan of DeCastell, and I was sent an ARC by Joe Fletcher Publishing and the author in exchange for an honest review. And my review is as honest as it can be, knowing that it is nearly impossible for me to dislike a DeCastell novel, just because DeCastell is one of these writers that, and not every writer is like this, but there are several that when you can't not know that you're reading a DeCastell novel, because he has such a distinct authorial voice and the way he writes, and that continues here with our protagonist Cade Umbra, who is a wizard. He's a fortunist, I think they're called. I don't know. He met a chancist. I don't know. He's one of the wizards that affects chance. At least those are the abilities that we see he has at the beginning. And they're in some big war where they're fighting some other wizards who are, behind some fortress walls or whatever, and they've been charged by the ascendant, or who work for like the ultimate good, like the angels or whatever, the aurorals, which are like the powers of good, versus the infernals, which are the powers of hell. So it's the powers of heaven versus the powers of hell, basically. And the ascendants are they do their will on earth. Basically. And so Cade is here with his friend, the Thunderer, basically a lightning wizard named Corrigan, and their relationship is one of the best parts of this. But back to Cade, he has an extremely distinct personality in his narration because it's first person, and all of DeCastell's books are first person, and I think that's one of the strengths of his novels, because Falcio and Kellen and here Cade all have similar but distinct personalities, and Cade here is directly addressing the audience. It's very tongue-in-cheek, acerbic kind of humor. It reminds me a lot of kind of the Deadpool breaking the fourth wall, and I have always been a fan. Some people don't like when the main character, first person, is addressing the reader. They would rather just kind of be in the head and just discovering it through their eyes rather than being talked to. I have always had an affinity for the kind of like, oh, take heart, dear reader, as I take you on this thing where we're being talked to by the protagonist. So I've always loved that. So that is there. He is not the misguided, outraged idealist that Falcio is, and he's not the teenage, like, what am I even doing, that Kellen is. He is world weary. He has been through a lot. He doesn't necessarily enjoy the fact that he finds himself with basically the scum of the earth. Corrigan and the other wizards that he's working with are the bad guys. And that's basically the conceit of this. It starts out like, hey, picture wizards. You know, you see the pointy hat, they got the pointy hat, and they got the big old beards, and they got the robes and whatever. No, they don't look anything like that. They look like us, and you know what, screw you. And they're really terrible people, are the wizards in this, and the people that Cade finds himself with. And that may or may not be a struggle for you. I don't tend to root for the bad guy when everyone's the bad guy, but there is something lovable about Cade and about Corrigan, even in their unlovableness, like in their delinquency. There is something to like. And what I really like is kind of the honor among thieves dynamic between Corrigan and Cade and the rest of the other, 5 wizards that join for this. So they are tasked with going and destroying these other 7 wizards in the north and recovering this artifact that kind of lets you change specialization, because you only have one specialization as a wizard, and there are a bunch. There are ones that consort with demons, there are ones that consort with the heavenly powers, there are ones that affect chance, there are ones that like deal with like the cosmos, there are ones that create totems and like channel their power through animals, there are ones that can make like plant life grow. And one of my favorite things in this book are the Luminous, because the Luminous only like create light, like they manipulate light, but every single wizard in this book that isn't a Luminist makes fun of Luminous. They're like, oh gosh, at least I'm not a Luminous. Oh, that'd be awful. Like, I don't know why the Luminous is gonna jump off a cliff. It is so funny how the disdain that all the other wizards have for the sucky Luminous, who everyone acknowledges just has the suckiest power. Ooh, I made it dark now. Ooh, a little candle. It's like when you start a D&D campaign as a level 1 wizard and you've got like the light cantrip or whatever. Ooh, look, fairy fire. Now, watch, someone down there is going to be like, oh, fairy fire gives you +6 to hit. It's actually really good, especially in low light. Hush, like, no, I'm talking about 2nd edition. Fairy fire sucks. So part of the joy of this kind of like, it's kind of like a quest story, a travel story, as they're heading to the north and accumulating more allies along the way. You know there's going to be 7 because that's in the title. And I like some of the allies more than others. I especially like the rat mage, Aradeus, or Aradius, or whatever. But dude can like control rats and stuff. And I was predestined to like this character because he uses a rapier and is like the fencing one, the very ennobled, like, I shall not let your virtue be sullied, that kind of thing. It reminds me very much of Falkio. So I like him. One of the other highlights of this is the magic system. I really enjoy the different types of mages, of casters, and part of the fun of this novel is seeing what all of the particular specialties can do, because it's not just like, I'm a lightning wizard so I can just zap you with lightning. The creative application of these different types of magic is one of my favorite things about here. So you're often surprised, like, oh, I can do that. Now, some people aren't gonna enjoy the fact that it's not like super defined and like, oh, what do you mean they can do that? I always like that when playing D&D. I always encourage like creative use of magic as opposed to just like, oh, I roll 10d6 damage. So that is one of the things that I like. And man, so this magic, guys, can do some bizarre stuff. There is some crazy crap that happens with some of these magic things, because when you have your main protagonist as these really, really powerful wizards, some of the battles that they get into are on such like a next level, like power wise, that there's no one-on-one like fencing duels like we get in Greatcoats. Instead, it is on a much larger scale. Here we have the standard stuff, standard DeCastell fare, named chapters, which I love, cliffhangers at the end of chapters that will just keep you turning to the next one, plot twists, humor, explorations of justice. This is, again, my favorite thing about the Greatcoats, and we have that here. Even though Cade and his ilk are the bad guys, they are basically the least bad of the bad that we have here. It asks a lot, like, what is good and what is evil, and what is justice? What are the pitfalls of pure justice that is untempered by mercy or compassion. Like, how does that look any different than the cruelty that the supposed evil side is doing? And so there's this blurring of when you've gone extreme on the good side and extreme on the bad side, how the two sides tend to look a lot alike. It's about, this book is about identity and the choice that you have in that identity. What agency do you have to decide what side you're on? Is it decided from birth? And can you make a different decision and choose to follow your path this way rather than the path that had been chosen for you? And can you change your mind along the way? And so it's interesting to watch these characters deal with these choices as they come up one by one. And, you know, they are flawed people. Sometimes they do not always make the right decision. And there are definitely consequences. I do wish that we got to spend more time with some of the other seven, especially the latecomers, because, you know, again, they're traveling towards a place where they have to do a thing, and they gather people along the way. And they obviously don't get all of them right at the beginning. They gather them, you know, piecemeal along the way. Well, this is just like any RPG, guys. You played a JRPG, you tend not to use the people that you gained toward the end of the game, because you've already got your party, right? You've already got your party. You've already got the people that you want to use. You're attached to them, you know. And then you get freaking Umaro like toward the end of the game, and you're just like, I'm not using Umaro or Gogo. Like, I got them too late. No. I'm sticking with Edgar and Cyan and Terra and Celis and, you know, whoever else you use. But I mean, that's the nature of it not being a like 600-page book. I am hoping that we will get more of that in the next book, if there is a next book. Here's a quote that I really liked. It's about inaction and acts of like inhumanity when not stopped. Like, they affect all of us. Like, it doesn't just affect the person committing the atrocity. We are all worse off for allowing that to happen. Desecration affects all who witness it. We are diminished by the unconscionable abuse of another, even when we prefer to pretend otherwise. And that is very Vimesy, very Falkio to me, in that we are, as a species, worse off for allowing the least of us, to be abused and taken advantage of by those who have the power to make people's lives better or worse. Their, again, choice. So, I don't love this book as much as I love The Greatcoats. It will be hard for DeCastell to write a book that I like more than The Greatcoats, just because Falkio is my spirit animal, I guess. But I did really enjoy this. Be warned, it is a much more like time for a bit of the rough and tumble book than Spellslingers or Greatcoats. There's a bunch of F-bombs, if that bothers you, and there's some weird sexy time, but it's only in one section that takes place on a pleasure barge. It's great. I mean, it's gross. I don't enjoy it. It's weird. But other than that, like, it's fine. You just be like, ugh, and then move on. And then the last segment of this book is just like, you may have to read it twice to be like, what is happening? If you like authors that go for it, you will be extraordinarily pleased here with DeCastell's newest book, where like, he goes for it, and it is hard to see what is coming, because it is, I mean, some of this stuff is bizarre, which you have the ability to do when you have these really powerful wizards as your main characters. So guys, that is the Malevolent Seven. If you are a fan of DeCastell's work, if you like the Greatcoats and Spellslinger, there is literally no reason you should not pick this up. If you've read both of those series, you are clearly a DeCastell fan, and you should absolutely pre-order this. Now, if you did not enjoy Greatcoats or Spellslinger for whatever reason, this is a different beast that I think you might find more palatable. You might like this one better, so you definitely should check this out as well. I'll put a link down in the comments to where you can pre-order this. You should absolutely pre-order. Again, thank you so much to the author and to the publisher for the advanced copy. I am extremely appreciative. I am a huge fan of DeCastell's work, and I hope to continue to be. I hope to consume everything he writes, really, basically forever, until the end of time. Absolutely pre-order it. Just a really fun, swashbuckling, It's hard for me to describe swashbuckling when there aren't people, wearing coats and using. There's a rapier. There's a rapier. It's swashbuckling. Boom. If someone's using a rapier and saying, "I will defend your sullied honor," then it's swashbuckling. So this magic-filled swashbuckling, really tongue-in-cheek, almost like a send-up of these we are the villains kind of things, like Suicide Squad. But not as dumb. Like Suicide Squad. So anyway, guys, that is it for me for today. Are you a DeCastell fan? Are you going to try this book out? You definitely should. Just go ahead and put yes. But thank you guys so much for watching. As always, information about my Patreon and Discord is down in the description, and I'll see you next time, guys.